What's going on, guys? Pulaski, come back with another review. This one is of Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa. Doing this review literally seconds after I just finished my review of The Fifth Estate, so here we go. Anyway, the film is directed by Jeff Tremaine and who directed the Jackass movies in the series. Also is starring Johnny Knoxville, who, as you know, was in the Jackass movies and a bunch of other things. So I've heard about this movie for a while now. I remember last year they were talking about it and how Johnny Knoxville said that he had a bunch of ideas lined up for Jackass and how he wanted to do something with them. And then Paramount bought all the domains for Bad Grandpa, and then now we have the movie. The Bad Grandpa character is Irving Zisman. He was in the previous Jackass movies as like the shoplifting old man. They finally kind of gave him an identity. And I think the first movie, actually, they gave him an identity and he started to be like this recurring character in the shows. Now he has his own movie. And I'm a big fan of the Jackass series. I was surprised it only lasted for a year. Like, the show actually only lasted for about a year. But there's a lot of content on the show. Like, I have the entire series on DVD. And I like it. I was in that. I think I started watching Jackass at, like, the right age. Because I was, like... I started watching it when I was about 8. I know that's very young, like 7 or 8, but I really started watching it when I was about 7 or 8. And I liked it because I was big into the Three Stooges when I was a kid, so I liked that idea of like people actually getting hurt, I suppose. But I got into it at the right age because that's when you find stuff like this funny. I think if I were showed it now, it would kind of lose its appeal or not be as funny because with the age of YouTube and everything, pretty much anybody can do that stuff. Like even the Jackass gang, as funny as they are, they're not doing anything that I don't think a lot of other people would be willing to do. I mean, some of the more extreme stunts, but a lot of the big, like a lot of the smaller stuff, like what they did, I think you could find a lot of people online, I mean, that would do it. I mean, nowadays, you look at people like the one girl online that, I know I shouldn't even welcome this in the video, but the one girl that, like licked or ate her own tampon or something, or a bunch of asinine stuff, you know what I mean, that people do nowadays on the internet just to get attention. You know, it's not like the Jackass gang was the only group of people who would be willing to do such a thing. They just got compensated and they thought of it first. I don't think a show like that nowadays would really thrive, considering you have the YouTube and the internet and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I would rather have seen Bad Grandpa than probably Jackass 4. I like Jackass 1. Jackass number 2 was pretty good too, and I really like Jackass 3D. I haven't rewatched it since I saw it in theaters, but I remember I really did like it. Wrote a very positive review of it. But Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa, though, it basically revolves around Irving Zisman, that character, and it's a mixture of regular home video footage, or I don't know what I'm saying, hidden camera footage, okay, of like of them pulling pranks on people. And it's a combination, and it's also like a kind of a real story, like a scripted kind of scripted segments. And it also stars Jackson Nicole, who was in he's done a couple episodes of iCarly, and he was also in Fun Size, okay, the movie with Victoria Justice that nobody saw. That's how he met Knoxville and did this. But anyway, it's basically them. The story, the wraparound story, like the shell of this movie is that Jackson Nicole, he plays a character named Billy, needs to go to live at his father's house in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, since Irving Zisman lives with Billy in Lincoln, Nebraska, I believe, they go on this like road trip or whatnot, not to go to Raleigh. And it's also not to mention, I think I forgot to mention this in my review, unfortunately, but I think I might have to go back and edit it, is that Irving Zisman's wife died, so they also have her corpse in the trunk to try and bury her where she wanted. I'm not going to say where she wanted. But the other thing I wanted to mention though about this movie is that it's surprisingly vulgar. I mean, in a way, it's not surprisingly vulgar, but it's also like very heartfelt. In a way, it's surprisingly very heartfelt in the way it goes about these things. Like the melodrama at the end is really kind of surprising. I did not expect them to go that route, to take that like to the next level and really make it a little bit sentimental. But it doesn't get like gooey and very like awkward and mawkish. It actually gets surprisingly very good when it gets to be in that melodrama segment. But it's also very funny, I think, and I'm not gonna ruin any of the stunts though, or like what they do, or any of the pranks they pull. I think ruining that, it totally ruins the movie. But it really has a mixture of like Borat with the pulling pranks on public, and then like the old man, the codgerly old man, who drinks a lot and swears a lot, and the innocent young kid that they kind of, like, it reminded me a lot of Bad Santa, too, in that regard, with the chemistry just the kid had, Jackson Nicole had with Johnny Knoxville. It really reminded me of that. And that's what I think it's funny, though, because they combine the best elements of two very funny movies, and they roll them into one, and what you get is another very funny movie. I'm not sure if this will revive the long-term life of the franchise. I don't know. Like, if they said you want to see a sequel to Bad Grandpa, I would see it, but I don't know if it would be as funny. I think they've done a lot with it, and I think if anything, they should go back and maybe try something new or try and make a new series out of this. Like, I would watch a series of random Jackass spin-offs. I would. I mean, if they're as good as this one. But then I look at, like, Jackass and how Jackass lasted so many years. It's still going on. It's 13 years old, surprisingly. And it's managed to even survive in the internet age. So I think that says a lot, you know what I mean? So who knows as far as that goes, like, who knows what's going to happen with this franchise, and who knows if they do make a Bad Grandpa sequel, if it's going to be as funny as the first one. But you look at the Jackass movies, and they really, I don't believe they ever wore out their welcome. They were fun movies. They still are very fun movies, I think. And it's very rare you get a movie that you can watch and really chill out to. Like, even mainstream comedies nowadays, you still kind of have to pay attention. This, you could just lounge back, got a soda, got a nice large popcorn, just eat, veg out for about an hour and a half, and it's a very good movie to do so. It's a very good, like, lazy Saturday, lazy Sunday movie, and it's not like an insult, like some people say it's a popcorn movie or whatever. I don't think of it as that, but this movie is, like, even though I can call it a lazy Saturday or Sunday movie, or like a rainy day movie, it still is a funny comedy because it has a lot of wit to it. It's got that element of unpredictability I like with my modern day comedies, and it's got a lot of, like, humor built up from these really weird, strange situations. And I think that's very commendable, especially when you see some of the later stuff of Jackass, you know what I mean? Or not just some of the later stuff of Jackass, but you see some of the humor that comes out nowadays that really isn't that funny or really not that interesting. So it's pleasant to see a movie like this that's very funny, very engaging, and also just very, like, cutthroat and just has a good time with its premise. Anyway, I'm giving it 3.5 on my scale, a B+ on an Influx magazine scale, 3.5 out of 4 stars. Very funny movie. Definitely make time for it. And like I said, I've been on a roll pretty much with good theater movies. Even The Fifth Estate, which a lot of people didn't care for, I thought was all right. I didn't have any particular malice towards it, but. Now, like I said, it's been a very great late year for films, though. What started out as a pretty terrible year for movies. With Movie 43, Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, and just a lot of garbage. It's really rounding out to be a very solid year. You got Prisoners in theaters now. You got Captain Phillips in theaters now. You got Gravity in theaters now. A lot of good movies now that people need to see and people need to get out there. And I think it's going to be a very tight competition for Oscar picks and everything. And now I got 12 Years a Slave coming. You got Dallas Buyers Club coming. You got American Hustle coming. Anchorman 2 coming. That's not Oscar worthy, but hell, it might be. As far, I didn't think a movie like, Captain Phillips was going to get any Oscars, but I think there's some serious competition. So I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing how the Oscars go and just how everything rounds out as far as that goes. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Sub if you haven't. I'll talk to you guys later. Tomorrow I'll be seeing 12 Years a Slave, so I'm also very excited for that. So today's the 26th of October, so who knows when this will get uploaded. Hopefully soon, though. Thank you guys for watching, for subscribing. I'll talk to you later. Bye.